Hey, everybody, Michael Gargiulo here with my great friend, my football soccer brother, Raphael Späth. We're talking about the upcoming World Cup. Raphael, we're going to talk about what's going on with tickets. There was a big development. Why don't we get into that? Because all of a sudden, all these people were worried about, man, I'm going to have to spend hundreds of dollars to get a ticket. All of a sudden, FIFA says, maybe you'll get into these games for as low as $60. But, what's going on?
Yeah, so that news came out earlier this week after, the whole backlash, because ticket prices for this World Cup are really, really high, especially compared to previous tournaments. I looked it up earlier, and I went to the Euros 2 years ago, which is the European Championships,
Right.
and tickets in the highest category, so category one, best seats in the house for the group stage, were almost as expensive 2 years ago as for the lowest category of the World Cup in 2026. So
Wow.
that just puts it in perspective of how high these ticket prices are for the 2026 World Cup. Now FIFA came out saying, hey, there will be tickets available for $60, which I think that's a reasonable price for a World Cup game. Problem is that these tickets only go to the hardcore fans. So
Right.
every federation that is playing in a match. So, for example, if Germany is playing against the United States, the German Football Federation gets 8% of the total tickets in the stadium, and the US Football Federation gets 8% of tickets. And then out of those 8%, 10% of those 8% tickets are for those $60. So I actually looked it up. So for the game from Germany against Curacao, the first group game
Yeah.
of the Germans, just over 500 people will be able to buy tickets for $60. The rest of them have to pay regular prices.
And this is out in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
This is in, I think, in Houston, but
In Houston,
yeah,
but it's a huge stadium.
that just shows you how small the percentage is of those $60 tickets.
Right. And we should explain for our American audience here that this means like you have to be a registered fan. You can actually register as a fan for in the German Football Federation or the USSF or United States Soccer Federation. So you can't just say, "Hey, I'm Raphael. I really like Ecuador, and I'd like to get these fan seats." You got to be sort of a registered fan. So that's really it's interesting. The other thing I want to bring up about this, Raphael, they've planned this World Cup forever and ever and ever, but this $60 offer just came up, and I'm getting the sense. I want to get your opinion that they got a lot of bad publicity because everyone's like, "Oh man, it's thousands of dollars for these seats," and they're saying, "Oh wait, we got seats for $60."
Exactly. I mean, it's a great headline, If you just read
Right.
that, open the New York Times and you read $60 World Cup tickets, you think, oh, how generous of FIFA. Uh, so it's a great marketing strategy, but obviously, actually that type of category was available for the Euros that I went to 2 years ago as well, but it was available to the public. You didn't have to be
Right.
a special member of a football federation or like a hardcore fan. That's how we actually got our tickets for $50 2 years ago for a round of 16 game, not even a group stage game.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's great. But let's talk about because you're talking about price increases. Uh, no two ways about it. The prices are more expensive for this World Cup than any other previous World Cup.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, I was sort of expecting it because FIFA kept calling it the biggest World Cup of all times. You have 48 teams now instead of 32 teams. They wanted to make the most revenue they've ever made at the World Cup. So it was obvious that, a price increase will follow that strategy. And obviously, the United States is one of the biggest sporting markets out there. So, and the strategy seems to be working because as of right now, 20 million people have already bid for tickets or joined this whole draw process from around the world. And there's only like 7 million tickets available. So you can see, even though the ticket prices are enormously high, there's still a market.
Right. But I want to point out, Raphael, a lot of people, what they're doing is they're applying for multiple games. I'm one of them, and I'll talk about my own experience in a sec. But a lot of people are applying for a lot of these tickets, figuring I'm not going to get them anyway. So they're applying for many games, figuring, well, maybe if I get one out of these, I'll be lucky. So I saw that figure from FIFA, and they've put these figures out, but and obviously, yeah, there's a lot of people want to get these tickets to the games, but I don't know if everyone's thinking they're going to actually get these seats.
Yeah,
For
well,
example, like I have now applied in this was December 11th. They started another draw. There was two sort of lotteries for tickets, and then December 11th they opened up a three-tier thing where you could apply. The first tier tickets were like, I don't know, like 400 or 500 bucks a game. I got the tier three tickets for four games, and it ran to about, for tickets of four, it was about 800 bucks a game. Now you
oof.
have to give them the credit card, but they don't charge you yet. I mean, this is a $200 ticket times four.
Hmm.
So I applied for those tickets, and we're supposed to find out in February whether we get any or all of them or some of them.
Oh, wow.
Right. But the thing is, I'm wondering if a lot of people are like, okay, I'll put all this in, but it's like how Americans apply to college, right? We apply to like 12 colleges. Maybe we get into three or four, and then we pick one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of that going on, and people are picking these different tiers to try and get seats. But Raphael, do you think you know FIFA well? You've covered them before. How sensitive are they to these accusations that this is just going to be a really expensive World Cup? It's going to be very American in the sense that our big sporting events have become luxury events, right? I mean, there's no more. You just go to see a championship game, whatever the sport. It's all about the luxury box, getting in here. How sensitive? Or you think FIFA's saying, "Look, this is great. We're gonna make a lot of money this way."
That's exactly what they're saying, and that's what they've been
Okay.
saying for for a couple of years now. They've been saying the same thing in Qatar. Yeah, the World Cup is now becoming a luxury experience. We just have to face it the way it is, looking at these prices. Even if you look at disabled people who were able to, in Qatar 4 years ago, get a ticket for as low as $10,
Oh wow.
free ticket for one person that accompanies them. Now that's no longer the case.
Oh really?
Oh, disabled people have to pay $300-400 for a ticket. Even to get a ticket to the final, a disabled person has to pay up to $4,000. So, yeah, the World Cup is
Now,
becoming a luxury event. What can I tell you?
okay. Now, also another in the headline is FIFA talked about a big donation they're making now to football related charities, and what people in America might be shocked to find out, although some of our sporting groups are like this too, FIFA is a nonprofit organization. They don't they don't make any money.
Yeah, that's crazy if you think about it that way. But I mean, all the revenue they're gaining, they're distributing to the member federations. I mean, they have over 200 member federations,
Right.
and everyone gets a piece of that pot. But obviously, also, if you're the FIFA president, you're getting a higher salary if you're grossing $9 billion compared to $1 billion.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
there's sort of an incentive for those people in power to sort of make as much money as possible. That's
Yeah,
just,
and we have to remember too, you if you're working for FIFA, you're living like a king. I mean, you're going to the best places. I mean, that's a whole separate discussion. Okay, let's talk about something that happened this summer in America, and we're going to see it again in the World Cup. Dynamic pricing. Club World Cup. There were some of these games where the prices were through the roof. Other one of these games, I went to see the Dortmund game against a team from Brazil. My son got a ticket for $40.
lucky
So
him.
how is this dynamic price? I mean, everybody who's used Uber and Lyft knows about dynamic pricing, right? You're trying to go home from the Rolling Stones concert. Suddenly, it's $250 to go 10 blocks. Um, how is this actually working for sports and for the World Cup?
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, I am putting all of my eggs in that ba basket on dynamic pricing. And I'm hoping that, for some games where there may be less of an interest, for example, Curacao against the Ivory Coast or something like that on a
Yeah,
Tuesday at, 1 p.m., that
yeah.
maybe that dynamic pricing will lead to lower ticket prices in the days leading up to the match. That's what I'm betting on because I'm not used to that personally, from a European perspective, that sort of the pricing is not set and can fluctuate depending
Right.
on, the interest. That wasn't the case for any major sporting event I've been to so far, to be honest with you. Even
Yeah.
at the Olympics, they had like a resale platform where you could basically only resell your ticket for the same price as you bought it. So, yeah, I feel like that's something that also U.S. politics have to look at. I think there's some law potentially that's coming up in the House and the Senate over the next couple of years. Because at this point, with this whole dynamic pricing dynamic, you will end up with finals tickets for the World Cup costing as much as $10,000.
Well, I mean, and Americans won't be shocked by that because every American knows you basically can't go to the Super Bowl,
But the rest
right?
of the world is shocked about that because for all
Right.
of us, it's a news
Right.
item. We're
We're
not used to
shocking
that.
each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Americans have largely I'm a New Yorker. I've gone to see the Rangers, I've gone to see the Jets, I've gone to see the Giants, I've gone to see them all. There's going to a sporting event now is an expensive, it's a luxury. I mean, that's the way it is. And we've gotten, unfortunately, used to that. But I wanted to ask you, okay, as a veteran, as an expert, what are you saying to all these Americans who are like, okay, I've applied for all these tickets. I don't know if I got them or when I'm going to, it's really, I think for as an American fan, what I feel is uncertainty. Like I have no idea what's going on. Am I going to these games? Or I'm not going. What would you say to us as your veteran European sports reporter? What would you say to us right now? Are we going to get tickets for this World Cup, or are we going to be watching this at the bar with Raphael?
Honestly, I think it would even be more fun to watch it from a bar, to be honest with you, than in the stadium. I think the most important thing is just have patience because
Okay.
there's nothing that could really increase your odds. And as I mentioned, there's so many people applying for these tickets. So if you are lucky enough to get a ticket, that's like winning the lottery, basically. Because, just the amount of people, it's the biggest sporting event in the world. I think people here in the United States don't really have an idea of how big the World Cup really is because soccer or football is not the number one sport in the United
Right.
States. But Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, keeps repeating it's like having 64 and now 108 Super Bowls
Yes.
one tournament because every game is just that big of an event. So yeah, just have patience, stick with it. And if you happen to get a ticket, damn, you're one lucky person, I'll tell you that.
Otherwise, you're going to pick the bar we're all going to meet at.
Yeah, I mean, you're the expert when it comes to bars in New York City. I feel like football bars in New York City, not me.
All right. Okay. All right. And neither one of us are buying. Everyone's buying their own drink at the bar. All right, Raphael, we will meet again maybe when we know a little bit more about these tickets. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.